Hello, one and all, and welcome to Parc Asterix, the biggest and most popular park in all of France. Well, maybe not, I don't know that for sure, but I know that I love it. This park is currently my only international park. I could have had 2 international parks if my beloved sister hadn't vetoed doing 2 parks on our France trip, but whatever, it's fine, I guess. Anyway, join me as we travel overseas to one of the most charming and well-themed parks I have ever had the pleasure of visiting. But before we begin, I have to give a huge shout out to GLaDOS! Yeah, I guess Airtime Throws hasn't been to Parc Asterix. Makes sense, it is in France. Luckily, GLaDOS' channel is full of both off and on-ride footage for the coasters at Parc Asterix, so thank you so much. And any still images you see in this video were taken by my beloved sister because she loves to take pictures, which in retrospect turned out really well for me. But with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into Parc Asterix. The first thing that is going to stand out to anyone who visits this park is the theming. It is so good, you guys. But before you can fully understand why, we need to back up a bit. This park is based on a popular comic strip in France, the Asterix comics. Asterix is the main character, and he functions as Parc Asterix Mickey Mouse. His benevolent form greets you from atop his mountain as you enter the park. It's a heck of a view, and things only get better from there. In fact, this park's theming is so good that I'm going to do something I have never done before. I'm going to talk about each section of this park in detail. Let's begin. The first area I want to talk about is the Egypt section of the park. This is, without question, my favorite area. This section of the park is just so beautiful. You walk in and hear the Egyptian music start playing before emerging into this glorious courtyard with Osiris running in the background. It's so wonderful. I don't have much else to say about this section. It isn't super big or anything, but the atmosphere is off the charts, and I wish this park was nearby so I could just hang out here and enjoy the sights and music. Man, I miss it. Anyway, let's move on to the largest area, Greece. This area dwarfs all the other areas of the park. I have no clue why it's so big, but it takes full advantage of that size with tons of really cool theming and rides. Every ride in this area is themed, from the coasters to the flat rides. I'm going to talk about some of these rides later on in the flat ride section of the video, but you can see on the screen how lovely this area is. The only reason I rate Egypt higher is because the music in that area is so good, and I honestly don't remember the music in the Greek area. Still a fantastic section of the park though. The next area I want to talk about is Rome. This section is pretty small, but has some of the most memorable sights in the park, namely the Colosseum Theater, which is home to a really great show, and the giant Julius Caesar head. This thing is hilarious. Why do they have this? These 2 things alone make Rome a great area. I'm gonna hit the last couple of sections quickly. There's a Europe-themed area that doesn't really have a ton of rides, but has this really neat indoor area meant to look like a medieval village or something. Also, these castles with faces. Very cute. The plaza in front of Tutatis is also really cool with the giant Tutatis statue. Also, this pig in the play area. Very cute. The last section I want to talk about is Gaul, which is honestly the weakest area in the park, which sucks because Gaul is where the main characters of the Asterix comics are from, so you'd think it would be the best area. My main problem with Gaul is that I can't really tell where it is or what the vibe is supposed to be. I do have hopes that it will get better in the future, but I'll save my reason for why that is for later in the video. For now, let's move on from theming and on to the flat rides. Parc Asterix has an incredibly strong collection of flat rides. In some ways, the flat rides are stronger than the coasters. One of the big ones is Discoplex, their disco ride. These rides are usually nothing special, but the theming on this one is amazing. It is a beautiful ride that tells a story with just how it looks. The idea is that Obelix, one of the comic characters, has thrown the discus hard enough that he knocks some of the pillars of the structure down. It's funny, simple, and easily understood. Just a great example of theming and a fun ride. Another fun ride in the Greek area is the aerial bar. It is an upcharge ride because you have to buy a drink to ride it, but I think it's totally worth it. It gives you a fantastic view of the park, and the area around the park is also really pretty. This type of aerial bar isn't anything unique, but the scenery around this one makes it one that I am glad to do. Parc Asterix also has a really fun collection of water rides. When me and my beloved sister saw this little boat ride, we knew we had to ride it just because of how cute the boats were. There were tons of silly little statues throughout the ride to look at. It's adorable. They also have a log ride, which we rode by accident, but was very fun. They have a rapids, a splashdown, even one of those water slide-esque rides with really fun theming on the lift hill up. This is a very strong collection of water rides for a park to have. There are also a variety of scenic rides. One I wish we'd had time to ride takes you through the Gaul area and looks really charming. And of course, I have to mention the best flat ride in the entire park, a Parc Asterix themed carousel. Me and my beloved sister made sure to ride in the giant Obelix chair. This was the last ride we rode on our trip, and it was 100% worth it. Best ride in the park. Now that I'm done talking about the theming and flat rides, you may think that I'm gonna start talking about the roller coasters now. Nope. I'm going to talk about the shows in the park instead. They have a variety of shows in the park, but me and my beloved sister watched the one in the Coliseum Theater. It was so amazing. The stunts and choreography of the show were so fun. The only downside was that they were speaking in French, but luckily my beloved sister speaks French and she was able to translate enough for me to know what was going on. But honestly, even if you don't speak French, I think you would enjoy the show, and probably catch the general gist of the plot. I don't think that would be the case for every show in the park. One we passed on the lake seemed pretty dialogue heavy, but even so, I think you'd be able to get a lot of enjoyment out of any of the shows. I know I did. And now, we talk about food. Don't worry, I don't have much to say. We did get food in the park in the Egypt section, and it was really good. So if you end up getting hungry in the park, I'd say the food is worth it. But be prepared to struggle a bit when ordering. It is a French theme park. But yeah, really tasty. Okay, now it is finally time to talk about the roller coasters. Sorry for putting it off for so long. I just really love this park and want to talk about all the parts of it that make it great, and that includes the roller coasters, so let's get going. The categories in this park are a little unique. Our top category has only one coaster in it, an absolutely incredible world-class coaster that dwarfs all others in the park. This coaster is the unstoppable Toutatis. After Toutatis, we have its backup dancers, the supporting cast, to allow our star to really shine. These coasters are Osiris, Trace d'Aura, and Pegasa Express. And then we have the understudies. Sorry guys, maybe you'll get a main role next year. These coasters are Vol de Guerre, Tonnerre de Zeus, and Goudrix. And then we have another unique category, coasters that I have not ridden at Parc Asterix. These are SOS Tournevis and Citomatics. I'll touch on these ones quickly considering, I didn't ride them. But with our categories cast and the rehearsals over, it's time to raise the curtain and allow the production to begin. Toutatis is the best coaster in the park. There's no contest. Honestly, Toutatis might be the best coaster in all of France. It's an intimate multi-launch, and they cooked with this one. The first half features the classic launch forwards towards the top hat, fall backwards into another launch backwards up a spike, and then fall into one final launch to clear the top hat maneuver. Like I said, a classic. And this one features an airtime hill in the launch, which, come on! Launching over an airtime hill? Always amazing. I also love the beginning of the coaster. There's the slightest drop straight out of the station, leading you right into the first launch. It's so fun. Once you get past the top hat, you get a lot of sharp twisting elements, as well as a couple really fun inversions. My favorite part is probably that last inversion. It's just so twisty. But honestly, I think you could pick any moment on this coaster to be your favorite. It's that good. And that's without mentioning the theming. The station of Toutatis is so cool, with all these lights and sounds playing every time a train dispatches. Plus, you have the rockwork and tunnels scattered throughout the layout, adding that little extra touch. It's awesome. My beloved sister and I were really lucky to be able to ride Toutatis 3 times on our trip, and every single ride was fantastic. Absolutely an S-class coaster. Trastaora is a bobsled coaster, so I have an immediate soft spot for it. Not an Intamin bobsled, to be clear. Those are all gone. This one was built by Mock, and I can definitely tell the difference. This coaster does not feel as out of control and wild as the bobsled that I'm used to. I think that can mostly be chalked up to the train length. Intamin bobsleds were just the one bobsled, but the Mock ones have a whole train that go together. That's not to say I dislike Trastaora. I put it in the top not to Tatas category for a reason after all. But of the 3 coasters that I put in this category, I do think that it is the weakest one. It's a pleasant ride, but that's it. Every park needs a good family coaster, and Trastaora fills that role nicely. I was very nervous about this coaster because it's a B&M invert, like the Batman clones. And you know how I feel about those, but honestly, this was such a great experience. The setting really makes this coaster. I already talked about how the Egypt section of the park is my absolute favorite, and it really helps Osiris shine. The line for this coaster has amazing theming. It is so cool. The mural in the loading station has so many funny jokes and gags in it that my beloved sister took like a dozen pictures in this room alone. And all of that is without talking about the actual ride itself. This ride is so fun. I think it might be my very first non-Batman B&M invert, so I can't speak for its quality compared to the other originals, but I really enjoyed it. Something fun about this coaster is that it goes through multiple little trenches and tunnels, which always adds a bit of thrill to a ride. Having those near miss close to the ground elements is such a blast. Overall, this coaster is a complete package. From theming to thrills, it has it all. I love the Pegasus Express. I consider it a perfect family coaster. First off, the theming is just amazing. The area of the park it's in is beautiful, and the story the ride tells is just good, silly fun. The idea is that you're a messenger working for the Pegasus Express. The coaster starts and you take off over some lovely scenery, skimming over water, when you get stopped by Medusa. The projection mapping on the statue in this room is really good and convincing. Medusa yells at you before sending you off backwards. The second half of the ride is done backwards, and it's just such a fun and unexpected twist to the ride. It isn't overly thrilling, there are no crazy inversions or elements here, but it's cute, exciting, and tells a story to boot. This might be my second favorite coaster in the park. That's how much I enjoy it. It goes to show that a coaster doesn't have to be crazy thrilling to be really good. This is the only coaster at Parc Asterix that I actively dislike. Any guess what kind of coaster it is? That's right, it's a Vekoma. Really? Really? This is Vekoma? I swear, right up until I was writing this sentence in the review, I thought this was an Aero Looper. I mean, good thing I double checked, that would have been embarrassing. But yeah, Vekoma, huh. Well, guess that explains why it's so freaking rough. This thing sucked, point blank. It is so horrible and painful. Old school Vekomas, living up to their name. Normally, I'd say skip this thing, it isn't worth the credit, but while I was searching the RCBD page to make absolute sure that this was in fact a Vekoma and not an Aero, I noticed a note towards the bottom saying that the trains on this coaster got new investor trains for 2025. A bit of Googling showed that this was, in fact, true. So, considering this new information, maybe it won't be as bad now? I don't know, I haven't ridden this new version. Massive air quotes there, the train and track are the same, they just replaced the restraints, but it has to be at least a little bit better, right? Maybe I'll actually give this thing another chance someday. I feel kind of bad for Tenaire Zeus. I feel like we didn't really give this thing a solid chance. We wrote it right after we wrote Goodrix, which means we went into this slightly rough wooden coaster already sporting headaches. The fact that the two roughest coasters in the park are right next to each other feels like it should be a crime. I wish I could have gotten a second ride on it when I wasn't feeling as bad, but the line was kind of long and we just never made our way back over to that side of the park. I feel really bad that I have a mostly negative impression of this coaster. Normally I'm really good at handling rough woodies, but I just wasn't feeling it that day. This is a good coaster, I just didn't get to experience it that way. Vol d'Icar, meaning Flight of Icarus. This coaster is just unmemorable. When I first started playing this video, I was looking at a list of coasters at Parc Asterix to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything, and when I saw the name Vol d'Icar, I could not remember what coaster it was referring to. It was only when I looked at pictures of the coaster that I actually remembered it, and even then, barely. My beloved sister still has no memories of this coaster, even after looking at the pictures. So, yeah, not great. From what little I remember of this ride, it's fine, kinda janky, not super forceful, a family ride. I will say that the theming on this thing is amazing. I love that there's a big sun right at the top of the lift hill because the ride is themed to Icarus. We are Icarus flying too high, and once we reach the sun, we start to fall. It's clever. And the Greek style buildings around the coaster are also fun. But yeah, the theming isn't enough to save this forgettable coaster. This is the coaster that I missed in Parc Asterix. It's in the Egypt section, but kind of back away from the main path, so we missed it the first time we passed through. When we realized our mistake and came back, it had actually stopped on the track with people still on it. It ended up closing down for the rest of the day, which is a shame, but I'm not too upset. I've ridden coasters like this one before, and while they're fun, they aren't anything crazy. Of all the coasters to miss, this was probably the best one. I'll get it when I go back to Parc Asterix someday. Speaking of going back to Parc Asterix, here is an excellent reason. Citomatix is their new coaster opening this year. I obviously haven't ridden it, but apparently it's a Gerstlauer spinning coaster, so I'm sure it'll be great. It's being added onto the golf section of the park, and considering what a good job they did with the Tutatis Plaza, and the fact that the Gaul area of the park is one of the weaker sections as it is right now, I am so excited to see what they do with this opportunity. I am definitely going back to this park to get this credit and the other one I missed. Alright, pros and cons. The biggest pro of this park is definitely the theming. This park is so cute and charming and I just love it. I mean, look at this restaurant. Look at it. It's made out of giant food. How cool is that? This park is just so cool to explore and look around in. The atmosphere is untouchable. As for cons, well, the coaster collection really isn't that strong. If it weren't for Tutatis, it would be a glaring weakness of the park. Luckily, they did add Tutatis, so it isn't really a big deal anymore. With the new spinning coaster they're adding this year, their collection is only getting bigger and better, and I have full confidence that they will continue to add to their coaster lineup. No, the biggest con of this park is that it closes so early. It closed at 6 o'clock the day we went, and that is not a fluke. Look at this calendar. Do you see how they are only open past 7, 2 days out of the entire month? Do you see? Of course, I am picking and choosing my data a bit here. There are months where it is regularly open till 10, but if you aren't in France during one of those months, you'll probably have to have your day cut a bit shorter than you would like. Which sucks. I never want to leave this park. I want to live here. So yeah, in case I hadn't made it incredibly obvious, I love this park. I love it so much. I am so glad that I chose this park over Disneyland Paris or whatever it's called. Honestly, who needs Disney when you could have an Asterix themed carousel instead? Obelix chair, my beloved, I will see you again someday. In fact, my only beef with this park is that it's in France, meaning it will probably be years until I'm able to visit again, which is so unfair. Why must there be so many amazing coasters and parks so far away from me? Well, at least it means I have a lot to look forward to. Yay! Another video done. Is anyone even watching these? Irrelevant. These videos are made for me and my dad and my sisters. Anyone else who watches them is just a bonus. I honestly don't know what park I'm gonna review next. Maybe Lagoon if I'm able to get out there. I don't know if that's feasible. I need to check my work schedule to see, but I'm not sure. But if not, I'm sure I'll be able to find another park to review. I've been to enough parks to keep this channel running for years, even if I never went to another park again in my life, which obviously isn't gonna happen. Stay tuned for more news on that later this summer. Until then, enjoy my current ramblings. I'll be sure to bring you more in the future. Catch you next time. Bye!